With the unholy priestess finally slain, we trek our way back into town, battered and thoroughly annoyed with the new problems we keep running into. As we arrive to the surface, we hear the announcement of the Queen showing up in public once more to announce some fun information for us. As we are part of the group that solely emphasizes solutionizing a lot of the problems around here, the Queen must forsake that problem in itself, announcing our resourcefulness. Surprisingly, she announces it and barely gives us an hour to sort out the problem. Arriving on the scene shortly thereafter, we see the Queen and her new loyal guard, and someone else, and the current acting general, making her public statement that the lovely people in town have strived for much. She announces three major things beyond that. First being that the lovely Eagle group that they have, the Order of Nails, is to be downsized, taking away their lovely hippogriffs, for they cost too much to keep up. Her second announcement is the discouragingness of the good doctor and his men hired to combat the plague, and his execution. And even more announcements, a replacement for the current general. For the current acting general and the original general are failing her. Between the general fleeing in her time of need and the acting general failing at his duties over and over again. Re-announcing, the gentleman is asked to send in his badge, and he does not take it nicely, flinging the badge at her face and stunning her with this shocking display. Angered by it, he announces her execution, drawing his bow and striking her in the forehead. Just dead on, like dead on. Most accurate NPC we've ever seen. And to everyone's surprise, she takes it like a champ. Not surprising when you think she has the crown of fangs itself on her. But it's, for those who do not know of the crown, it is both surprising to see someone take a headshot. Then, on top of that, she yanks it out like a badass and rushes him, crushing his poor throat and teleporting back to the castle. The Greetus, proud of himself getting public renown about how well he was doing, none to the city's dismay of how well he works, we head back to the guardhouse to report all that actually happened. Crescenda brings us into one of the more secured rooms. Very powerfully placed permanent mage's sanctuary in place. And we talk. And how awful the situation's getting. It's getting worse and worse. And the Queen's just making it worse every day she exists. She speaks of her informant. The wonderful Van Carlos. A man who's been informing her about all the stuff that's been going on. In a sudden absence that he can't happen because he does not appear before her in the last couple of days. We are tasked to head back to his base in Old Corvosa. A surprising town that was quarantined during this whole process. Locked away from the main place and left straight to fend for itself. Granted, Old Corvosa itself is pretty much a slums at this point, so no surprise there. Getting in is not a problem. Getting out is more of a problem. But The greatest himself has no concern. We march our way in, it very much, very much just demand that we entered, and threatening the guards well enough that they didn't. Walking through Old Corvosa, we see many of the struggling situations arising. Children left on their own, beggars run, madmen wander the streets. As we head forward, thugs approach us, because of course thugs always have to live around here, threatening us to meet with the Emperor to drop our weapons, in which the prompt response is no. And beaten. We wander through, trying to head over to Van Carlos's home, our amazing sense of direction not upheld to it, running into the guards. Again, these lovely thugs think that they're tough enough to threaten us, and proceedably get beaten once more. And we travel another short distance away, finally seeing Van Carlos's location in a reasonable doubt, and once again thugs show up, demanding our weapons, and that we surrender. And we beat them promptly over the head. Finally reaching Van Carlos's home, we admire the fact, check to see the locks, unlock it and enter. Slowly exploring the place, realizing that he probably hasn't been here for several days at this point. Slowly trekking through, we head into the main foyer where the stairs would be. Just to see, surprise, surprise, some Red Mantis assassins. Second introduction, first introduction, kind of strange to see him hanging around. Second introduction, however, straight told us they were something up to trouble. Of course, they decided that setting ablaze to the building was a courtesy, seeing as they can survive the fire in and of itself. Of course, which we put them down. With the newfound power of the barbarian, we solutionized problems more than we needed to, combat becoming almost trivial in some cases. Sadly and unfortunately, Lizard Lips has fallen to his addiction to gambling and fallen into a drug slump, spending most of his days at Eel's Inn while we spend our time sorting problems. As they set the fire to the building, the Red Mantis have been slain. And the Drow barbarian march into the building and begin searching. Literally taking anything that's not nailed down. We eventually watch the building burn down to itself while we sort out treasure. Nice warm blaze while fire goes on us. And we find out the secret. Van Carlos, he's blackjack. Or at least owns his stuff. Wearing some of the new shiny gear, because there are several magic items that are very nice. Much needed the classic amulet used by the greatest through the whole campaign, because non-detection is probably the best thing he can enjoy. Does not want to be tracked, does not want people tracking him. Donning his gloves, his boots, and his cloak. Of course, he doesn't wear armor, so the armor does nothing for him. And probably most likely is going to enjoy meeting its loveliness of being pawned off. Confused on why we couldn't find nothing, we decide to visit this emperor that evolved himself around here. So we head out, trying to figure out where he is, just to beat the thugs once more. Raised eyebrows and a smirk. We beat them down once more, and demand that one of them take us to the Emperor. At this point, they have learned of our strength, and accept, asking no further of us. And we make our way to the Emperor of Old Corvosa. Good old Emperor. And this is slowly where problems arise themselves. And as always, I will see you next time. Bye-bye!